You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Friday. Happy Venus Day. And welcome to a very powerful, potent, maybe even disruptive weekend. If you're joining me live, get nice and comfortable because we have a lot to chat about today. We're going to walk through the energy of Friday, Saturday, and touch on the full moon happening this Sunday. So if you are finding this video later, I will go ahead and add markers to the timeline down on the bottom. So you can jump to whichever day you're looking for guidance on, or even whichever transit you're looking for guidance about. Nikki was here ready to go. It is negative 40 today where she lives. Oh my goodness. I hope this full moon brings some fire to your life in one way or another in the fiery sign of Leo. Happy Friday, Corby. Hey, Nick. Oh yeah, negative 34 to be more exact. Not that that's much better. Hi, Rachel. Yes, manifest are now eternal. This is live. Welcome. So I just want to start before we dive into everything by acknowledging that the energy leading up to this moon feels a little bit like a rocket ship taking off. It feels like it could be tumultuous. It could be disruptive. Today we have the sun squaring Uranus, the planet of disruption, rebellion, and innovation. So expect the unexpected. Changes are possible. Outbursts are possible. The moon today is making its final connections in Cancer. It feels like emotions are certainly heightened as the moon gets fuller, especially in the emotional sign of Cancer. And then when we look to the actual full moon, it does feel like, just as an overall energy, the full moon is kind of this breaking point, this culmination point where we can begin a big release. But yeah, I don't know. I picture like we're going up to the top of a roller coaster right now, you know, when you're kind of holding on and gripping and you're not sure what's going to happen, waiting for the unexpected to happen. And hey, you might even hit a curve or a turn you didn't expect on the way up to the top as well. Yes, Corby's got it. Buckling my seatbelt and bracing myself. Now, this isn't to scare you, right? The forecast is never meant to scare you, but it can be helpful to know that changes are definitely possible and expected during this forecast. Hi, Elena. Yes, feels like a lot of anticipation and restlessness. Well, let's get into it. The sun is in Aquarius, the moon is in Cancer. So the sun and moon are kind of playing in this balancing act with each other right now. And, you know, it's a little bit uncomfortable. So that could be where some discomfort, restlessness is coming from as well. But once the moon moves into Leo, this will happen just after midnight Pacific time. So overnight between Friday and Saturday, the moon moves into Leo, and then things get a little more dramatic. Let's start with today, with Friday. The sun is squaring Uranus exactly tonight, just before 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time. But we're definitely feeling that square already playing out. You can see here that square, 14 degrees sun, 15 degree Uranus. Uranus actually just moved 15 degrees. So this is a great point to take a look at where 15 degrees of fixed signs falls in your chart, because that's going to be what's most activated by this full moon. As we get going and talking about the full moon, anything right in the middle of a fixed sign, the fixed signs are Aquarius, Leo. This is what will be activated by the full moon itself. And then Uranus is squaring all of it. And Scorpio, 15 degrees of Scorpio. If you have anything right around that placement, if you're a millennial, maybe you have Pluto right around 15 degrees of Scorpio. This could be very tumultuous, but very transformational at the same time. So for those of you who are in transit tracking, we'll talk about this a little more in depth during our call tonight. But if you're just someone who's trying to figure out what is this full moon bringing for me, or maybe what area of my life can I be expecting changes in, really any areas with the midpoint of a fixed sign, any planets there are going to be activated. So keep that in mind. But let's take this transit by transit, day by day. Like Corby's saying, just trying to stay surrendered and not fearful. That is the best place to be, a place of flexibility. Remember, when we're talking about fixed energy, fixed signs, which the Sun and Uranus are both in fixed signs squaring each other today. Fixed signs, you can think of them like kind of stubborn. You know, I use the analogy of temperature with the different modalities, whereas cardinal signs are like the thermostat, they set the temperature. Mutable signs are like a thermometer, they change with the temperature. Fixed signs are like an ice pack or a heating pad. They are just going to be their same energy regardless of the environment. So knowing this and being flexible, being willing to be flexible and work with the energy is going to be helpful. My Saturn is at 13 degrees Aquarius. So your Saturn is going to be activated by this full moon for sure. Yeah. Let's talk about the Sun squaring Uranus. Today is a tumultuous day. The last time, fun fact, that the Sun came into a square with Uranus was actually 6 months ago, almost to the day. Makes sense because we experience 2 squares to a planet per year for the most part. Maybe a little more depending on the planet. Between the Sun, I should say. Now we're just getting into the weeds. I don't want to confuse you. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is the last time the Sun came into a square with Uranus like this was during the full moon in Aquarius, the opposite sign of the full moon we're about to see. And so thinking back to 6 months ago during the full moon in Aquarius, did you experience any pivotal shifts, any changes of direction? Those themes might be coming back up, or this could be a culmination point from the shifts that were started then. So I just think it's really synchronistic and really cool that both full moons, 6 months apart, we experienced a square to Uranus during the full moon. Really powerful stuff. In general, though, this is where that bracing for the heightened experience comes in, that rocket ship. It's kind of like the explosion that happens to push the rocket ship off. That's the visual I'm getting when I picture the transits leading up to the full moon. The Sun is in the most rebellious sign, Aquarius. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. It's the planet of rebellion, and it's in stubborn Taurus. Now, I love that Nikki talked about it being freezing where she is. In the forecast today here in sunny Sacramento, I mean, it's cloudy today, there was a chance of snow, which never happens. It didn't actually happen, but changes in the weather are definitely a side effect of this with Uranus and Taurus, the sign associated with nature. But emotional changes, life changes, disruptions, surprises are possible as well. This could be the beginning of a revolution in a larger sense. You know, our collective consciousness is definitely activated with the Sun in the community-oriented sign of Aquarius, or it could just be a simple shift in a dynamic. It could be an insight dropping in. The disruption could be positive, but it's important to not try to frame anything as good or bad, right? Just trusting, like Corby is saying so wisely, surrendering, buckling up. It's like being on a roller coaster. Once you're on it, you got to surrender to it. It's not like you can jump off mid-ride, you know, like that would be a lot worse. So just surrendering, seeing any obstacles that pop up, surprises that pop up as opportunities to evolve and to grow. So either way, whatever is coming into your awareness feels like it's forcing us, this square, this 90-degree angle, it could be blindsiding us, but whatever's happening is forcing us to acknowledge the changes happening around us, the physical changes, the emotional changes with the full moon coming up. And yes, there might be anxiety. There may be a little sense of unease leading up to this, especially if we're resisting it. The more we resist, the more uncomfortable it's going to be. So staying flexible, opening to redirections as opportunities. Oh, I'm so glad you got to catch it. She says, I never, or he, I don't know what your gender is. I never get to catch your live, but thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You've truly been a footlamp through the dark, treacherous forest for me, my loved ones, for the last year. Thank you so much for all your guidance. Thank you for being here. I'm just grateful that I get to share my love of astrology with you. And, you know, astrology and reflecting on the transits has been huge in my own spiritual journey. And I'm just so glad it's helping you too, especially on a day like today where, like I said, you know, not to say you should be expecting something crazy or bad to happen, but just knowing that it might is like, we can do this. We can flow through this. We're not going to be as blindsided by it, right? And you might have been feeling this already. Remember, the sun moves pretty quickly, but we experience transits within a 5 to 8 degree orb. So, you know, really the past week, big changes, big shifts might have been brewing. Nikki says yesterday was kind of disruptive, very forgetful, left a bag in Metro when shopping, was not present. I cracked my hunter boots. Yeah, accidents, that could be part of this. So being careful, being mindful, but not being fearful. Ice storm in Texas, in Houston. Wow. Earthquakes? What? I have not watched the news, but yeah, wild weather. I could definitely see that being a byproduct of this. I guess it's time to use the tools I've been learning and just be patient. It's hard for those of us, right? Who we like our control. We like to be able to be productive with the energy, but sometimes it's just a matter of taking your hands off the wheel and letting things happen. And remember, Uranus just stationed direct like a week or two ago. So it's finally resuming forward motion. I mean, it literally just finally moved a degree forward. And, you know, the changes happening are meant to help us push forward and align with the future. Absolutely. But sometimes there needs to be a breakdown in order to have a breakthrough. Nothing ever changes if convention isn't challenged, right? So you might be facing some challenges, but you can almost think of anything that pops up as a blessing from the universe. That might be helpful. That's definitely helpful for me to be like, okay, God, spirit, universe, higher power, stars, whatever you believe in, like, you see something I don't. You're protecting me from something here. So let me flow with this. Let me go with it. Yeah. Let's talk about the moon on this last day of the waxing gibbous moon in Cancer. We touched a little bit on this yesterday, but overnight the moon opposed Mercury. So the moon also connected with Uranus late last night. And I've been hearing from so many people that they've been having vivid dreams. I don't know if it's Venus in Pisces. I don't know if it's the moon in Cancer heightening our intuition, but a lot of people are having vivid dreams. I mean, vivid dreams and heightened emotions are usually more powerful around a full moon because we're really attuned to that moon energy the more full it gets. But I'm curious if anybody had some powerful messages coming through dreams or waking up with a lot of insight or mental power. As the moon opposes Mercury, this was 3 a.m. Pacific time, 6 a.m. Eastern time, insights can come through. We're kind of drawn to making mental sense of things, but this opposition between the moon and Mercury could also feel like swinging between the head and the heart, you know, like trying to rationalize and then overly feeling, especially as our emotions are very heightened under the Cancer moon. So I just recommend, in general, leading up to this full moon, having a journal nearby, jotting down any ideas that feel like, oh, that's a good idea, but not necessarily trying to fully make sense of it or do anything with it just yet. You know, we are reaching this culmination point, this point of illumination. So ideas can definitely pop up, especially with Uranus playing such a big role, kind of asking us to see things differently, experience things differently, open to insights. It's a powerful time for realizations to come through, but I would just say give yourself plenty of emotional space to process them. If you're like me, you might be someone, I'm a manifesting generator in human design, so I get an idea and I just want to run with it. And it's nice to have the permission to just say, okay, I wrote that down. It'll be there waiting for me when it really does feel aligned. And maybe it feels aligned right now. Permission to go and change and do whatever is feeling good for you, but no pressure, right? Taking the pressure off of yourself to have to put an idea into action immediately. Yeah, don't make any big purchases on this transit. Yeah, if you're feeling like, oh, I might be a little impulsive, a little risky, yes, Uranus can definitely do that. And our emotions are heightened too. Maybe Uranus is now putting us to the test for everything we learned from its retrograde. I love that perspective, Rachel. A great insight, as we've been talking about insights. Uranus was retrograde for like 5-6 months, just went direct at the beginning of Aquarius season. And it's like, okay, this full moon, this peak point in Aquarius season, Uranus is like, you've been reviewing the innovations. You've been thinking about the changes you want to make. Now is the time to really embrace the changes. And like Rachel also said, use the tools that you've learned. Insights. We are welcoming all the insights. Yeah. Nikki got deeper sleep. That's great. Rachel says, I took the time this morning to journal before I started work. Love that for you. Definitely helped put my mind at ease and got insights for a creative project I want to make for a couple friends. I just was like, we all need to have a journal close by because Uranus can heighten our intuition and bring through those ideas, and jotting them down when they're coming through is just, it's helpful. Then you don't have to hold on to them in your mind, right? Yeah, Nikki, forgetting shopping bags like she did. Yeah. Okay, so that was what was happening overnight. Lots of mental activity this morning. This afternoon, the energy is much sweeter. This is the sweetest point in the day, officially at 11 a.m., but something we're definitely still feeling is a trine between the moon and Neptune. So actually you can still see that. I didn't even need to rewind the chart here, but the moon at 23 degrees, Neptune at 23 degrees, both of them in water signs. Our intuition is heightened. Our creativity, our imagination are heightened as well this afternoon. So middle of the day today feels like a powerful time to bring through creativity. And no surprise that we're all talking about insights right now coming in, intuitive insights, because Neptune is all about expanding our mind, using the corners of our mind we don't normally use, right? Closing our eyes and seeing what visuals and what insights come through without using our normal 5 senses. So not only can this bring through a lot of creative energy this afternoon, again, having a journal handy, but it can also make us more compassionate, more empathetic, more attuned to other people's needs. With Neptune being the most sensitive planet, Neptune's influence can kind of bring a fog in, but this fog is almost welcome, especially as the moon is harmonizing with Neptune this afternoon. It's like kind of this calm that's coming in, or just putting a damper on the energy a little bit in a welcome way. It feels like giving us more flow, the ability to flow with the ideas. And if we use the energy of the moon and Neptune in this trine in its highest capacity, our imagination, our ability to dream can birth really powerful new creations. So pay attention to the ideas that are popping up today. They are powerful. They're coming from a place of dreaming and probably a very sweet spot in our heart, especially with the moon in Cancer. We're really attuned to our internal waters, if you will, this afternoon. So I'm really glad we're going live during this trine. It feels very conducive to this sweet, empathetic, watery energy. Now we have one more transit. The last connection the Cancer moon will make will happen at 9 p.m. Pacific time. Like I said, the moon moves into Leo overnight. So the moon in Cancer is going to go out with a bang. Okay, it's not going out silently. So let me jump ahead and show you what we're working with here. The moon at 28 degrees opposing Pluto, that dark red line in the middle of the chart, an opposition between the moon and Pluto. And you'll also notice what's very close to the moon is Lilith. So with all of this planetary activation, with the moon coming into a conjunction with Lilith and opposing Pluto, these are two placements in planets, Lilith and Pluto, that are most associated with hostility, with power struggles, with the need to control, the need to manipulate. And yeah, the forecast is uncomfortable today. Change is uncomfortable. It's the nature of change. Disruptions are uncomfortable. Not knowing what's going to happen next is uncomfortable. But beware of trying to manipulate or control other people because you feel out of control. I've been there. I speak from experience. There's no judgment. This is a no judgment zone. But as the moon opposes Pluto, it can make us feel that need to alchemize, and to alchemize in a way of like, I just want this change to happen my way or in my timing. So I'm going to force it. I'm going to control it. Power struggles are possible, especially with the moon coming into the anaretic degree of Cancer. Like, we're just a big ball of emotion leading up to this full moon. So, trying not to let our emotions get the best of us, remembering that we're safe in our skin, we're safe in our body, and we don't need to force anybody else to act a certain way to make us feel good. In fact, it probably will make us feel less great, even if in the moment it's like, oh, I just want you to do what I want you to do, So intense emotions can certainly pop up tonight. And we just want to be really mindful of how we're responding to those emotions, finding tools, coming back to those tools to be safe in our body, be grounded in our body. And even emotions that have been kind of hiding in the shadows as the moon comes into a conjunction with Lilith, anything that's been repressed could pop up in a really powerful way tonight. So embracing those emotions instead of projecting onto other people, being like, oh, I'm feeling all of this. Okay, what is this showing me? How can I find empowerment in this by just letting myself feel my emotions? That was like a huge breakthrough I had not that long ago, to be honest with you, where I was feeling something really intensely and I was like, I'm just going to cry. Like, I'm just going to feel this and let myself feel it and run its course instead of being like, no, I don't want to feel that uncomfortable thing. So witnessing your emotions, there's a lot of empowerment that comes from just letting yourself feel the things that are coming up. Rachel says, my Pluto's at 22 degrees, so this created a grand trine with the Cancer moon. Ooh, I love that for you. Feels very creative and transformative for you today, Rachel. Katie says, talking to me here, Olivia, really trying to let go and control and lean into Neptune's energy of not needing to know what the plan is. Embrace the fogginess. Have empathy and compassion for yourself. It's easier to feel into that this afternoon. So settling into that compassion and that grace can help you navigate any big emotions or sensitivities that pop up later today. If you're here live, there's a reason you're here live. Just taking this moment for yourself to be like, all of my feelings are valid. It's okay to feel how I feel. It's okay if my emotions are really big right now. I've got me. We're going to be fine. Okay? We got this. So Friday's a roller coaster in itself. It's like insights, imagination, creativity, and maybe some big emotions to end the day before the moon moves into Leo. Let's move on to our Saturday forecast because the tension continues to build on Saturday. If you thought the sun squaring Uranus was the only tension we're talking about, think again. Venus is squaring Mars tomorrow night, about 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, Saturday night. So throughout the day, Saturday, we're starting to feel Venus and Mars, the planet of the feminine, the planet of the masculine, our need for affection and love versus our need to take action and find motivation, kind of clashing with each other. And the term all's fair in love and war comes up when we think of the Venus-Mars square. Mars being the planet of war and Venus being the planet of love. These two are challenging each other in this tense square with one another. So what does this mean for us? Well, more discomfort is certainly possible leading up to the full moon. And it might be like, your own internal feminine and masculine. We both have both of these, or we all have both of these energies within us, I should say, kind of battling each other. Like, Venus in the sweet sign of Pisces, just wanting to like lean into love and romance and fantasy and everything is perfect. But Mars in Gemini is like, yeah, but I'm really mentally stimulated and I want to do all these things, and kind of our focus being pulled in a lot of different directions and wanting to do a lot of different things at the same time. So I see this specific Venus-Mars square in the mutable signs of Pisces and Gemini creating some overstimulation, especially as we're still feeling the square between the sun and Uranus, especially as the moon is becoming full. Overstimulation is definitely possible. And I could just see this coming up as a lot of internal conflict, to be honest. I mean, look at the chart. We have two squares playing out at the same time. So definitely feeling some tension on Saturday. It's funny because I don't even like to say stuff like this when talking about days coming up, because it's like, I don't want to manifest that. But again, I think it's really helpful knowing like you might be feeling this internal, external, masculine, feminine, giving, receiving struggle playing out with these two opposite energies, Venus and Mars, squaring one another. So there could be some intense attraction that comes up in that tension. Tension's not always bad, right? You might have some attraction between masculine and feminine energies coming out. Remember, masculine and feminine doesn't always refer to gender either. So, it might just be that you're finding yourself, if you're really in your feminine tomorrow, more attracted to someone who's masculine, or that you're kind of clashing, because we're in a tense square. So it could be like that, you could cut the tension with a knife type of feeling, sometimes. I don't know, maybe it's me and my Scorpio moon. I'm like, the tension is fun for me, but that's not fun for everybody. So potential overwhelm, potential conflict. I think having a healthy outlet for any tension or aggression or thirst. The term thirst is really coming up too with Venus and Pisces. We're just feeling a little thirsty for affection. Anybody else? I know I have been feeling that with Venus and Pisces. And then Mars and Gemini, like really wanting to be stimulated, do things that are stimulating, So having a healthy outlet for that tension, very important, whatever that looks like for you. Now, I will say the attraction, that tension could bring you into collision with someone else that you're attracted to. It could be like you meet someone, you're kind of blindsided in this square by meeting someone else who has the opposite expression of you, or who's, again, more masculine or feminine, depending on how you identify. Starting a relationship, that tension could be a little explosive. Maybe even if you're not starting a relationship, there could be kind of a fiery, explosive tension between masculine and feminine energies tomorrow. But I would say, like, if you happen to meet someone during a Venus-Mars square, it's not really indicative of there being long-term potential here, because there's like a long-term conflict that could play out. Also, something fun that has popped up recently. I don't think Court's here right now, but Court, our friend, who's also an astrologer who pops in the chat very often, has Venus in Pisces and Mars in Gemini. And so we were talking about this a few days ago about how that shows up for her. And, she's really been like playing into masculine, feminine dynamics in her life and in her business. And I had the realization that I attract a lot of people who have Venus, Mars squares in their charts. My partner, my best friend, her partner, all have Venus, Mars squares. And I think it's kind of that internal conflict between the masculine and feminine that pops up with each of them, to be honest with you. Oh, you are here. Oh, you are here. I would love your take, Court, on how you feel this, if you want, how you feel you're coming into your Venus return and your Mars return at the same time, like you are this transit. I'm so glad you came to say hi. Yeah. Especially in the mutable signs. We were talking, the other people in my life have a lot of cardinal and fixed squares between Venus and Mars, which seems like, to me, a little more difficult, right? A little more butting heads. Whereas mutable energy, it's like there's kind of this tension, this clash, but it's like we're kind of flowing with it. Like, oh, a little more push pull, not quite as harsh because of the nature of mutable signs. Love this awareness, Katie says, feels very aligned for me and my household. And as we're saying that, Rachel says 4:44 on the East Coast right now, starting to feel this, but finding it easier to lean into love when I get irritated these past couple days. Yeah, and Venus in Pisces, at least if we're having a Venus-Mars square, Venus is in Pisces, right? So it's like allowing us to have that empathy, that compassion. There might be a little bit of confusion as well, or over romanticizing things, because Venus is in Pisces. Court says, yeah, so interesting. You described it so well. I do think I'm learning how to balance them or lean into the feeling of being safe in the feminine energy. That's beautiful. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I also love how Mars is in a masculine sign and Venus is in a feminine sign during this. So it might even just be a simple noticing of how your feminine shows up versus how your masculine shows up, or, the dynamics in relationships, right? Venus being the planet of relationships. This could go for friendships. This could go for romantic relationships, business partnerships, like noticing who plays more of the feminine dynamic and who plays more of the masculine dynamic. Is it balanced? Are you feeling tension because there's a little too much of one energy and not enough of the other? So kind of playing in the waters of the masculine feminine dance that we all experience as humans, right? Okay, so you have a Venus-Mars square almost exactly in your chart too, Nick, but you have yours in fixed signs, a little more tension than we experience with mutable signs, or at least that's how I see it showing up in other people in my life who have very similar squares in their charts. I feel like this aspect adds to my flirtiness and wittiness. Totally. Like Venus in Pisces is like, I can just see the best in people and I'm like attracted to the romanticism. And Mars in Gemini is very flirty, very witty. Like, let me spit some one-liners your way. Let me just like stimulate you a little bit, So this could be a very stimulating transit as well. But with the square, overstimulation, certainly possible. Yeah, well, you're a Scorpio rising, right? You have some Scorpio placements, a lot of fixed energy in your chart. That makes sense. That makes sense. And there are no good or bad signs or modalities. We're all here for a reason. All of the archetypes, all of the planets add value in their own way. So I just want to point that out there. Okay, Venus square Mars. Good luck. Enjoy the tension. Use it to your advantage. Let's talk about the moon moving into Leo now. The waxing gibbous moon moves into Leo. It's going to feel more like a full moon as the day goes on tomorrow. So the moon moves into Leo just before 1 a.m. Pacific time, 4 a.m. Eastern time. It's a nearly full moon. And let's just kind of tap into the Leo energy while we're getting into it. Leo is the sign of the inner child. It's ruled by the sun, actually. So it's very expressive, very magnetic, very playful, joyful. And this full moon, as we're leading up to it, and the moon is gaining light, it's this invitation, like, step into your fullest expression. Be unapologetically yourself. Be bold, be playful, let your hair down. The full moon begins the cycle of release. So it's like, on Sunday, especially, like, do something fun that's going to release any stagnant energy, any of the tension that we've been talking so much about that built up leading to the full moon. The moon moving into Leo is like, just flow with it and have fun with it. Embrace it. Use it to propel yourself towards more authenticity. It feels like a very flamboyant energy with the moon in Leo. Now, also, yes, like, let your light shine, be the brightest, most vibrant version of yourself. But I also like to point out when the moon is in Leo, especially we're coming into a full moon, the dramatics can amp up a little bit. Let your inner child out to play, but don't let your inner toddler out to have a tantrum. There's a fine line between the two, and we want to make sure that we are not letting our inner child completely run the show. We still want adult advisory, right? Inner adult advisory, if you will. So have fun. Be expressive, be playful, but remember, you don't have to make things more dramatic than they already are, because the dramatics are already there, you know? The changes are already happening. So just play, be free, be joyful, and make sure you're exuding that joyful energy outward towards other people too, and not creating any drama just for the fun of it, if you know what I mean. Okay, we talked about the moon coming into a conjunction with Lilith. That happens at 7 a.m. on Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time. So you can see on the chart here, this is a little later in the day, actually. So let's just jump back a few hours. You can see the moon coming into this conjunction with Lilith. That's the first meeting the moon makes. And remember, Lilith is the dark moon, the black moon. So Lilith, there's also an asteroid named Lilith, but in our forecast, we talk about Lilith, the point on the moon's path farthest from Earth. Now, that also means you might have heard us talking about the new moon in Aquarius directly opposing Lilith was the closest new moon to Earth in like 1,000 years. Because this full moon will be close to Lilith, it'll appear a little bit smaller, a little bit farther from Earth. So just something to keep in mind. It's kind of the opposite of a supermoon. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a lot less powerful, but maybe that'll help. At least it's not a supermoon in Leo. That would create a lot of dramatics. The dramatics are already there. They're already there, okay? So we don't need to add any supermoon to the fire, right? The moon conjunct Lilith, it could be this moment of emotional realizations, a lot of empowerment that comes with Lilith. Remember, Lilith represents the emotions that have been suppressed, our need for control, our need to like rise up and claim our sovereignty and be bold about it. So there's a lot of authenticity, boldness that comes in the start of the day on Saturday. But bold expression, being like, I'm in my power, I'm claiming my sovereignty, that could easily be misconstrued as bitchiness. I think some of you know what I'm talking about. When we're feeling a little sassy and we're just like I'm just doing my own thing. And it's like, then you realize, oh, maybe that didn't land the right way. You know, so be mindful about how you're communicating, how you're showing up with other people. Feel yourself. Yes. Know your worth, know your power. Yes, honey. But we don't want to step on anybody else on the way up. We don't want to cause more dramatics than need be, right? Let's see. We're still reflecting on this Venus-Mars conjunction. Katie says, my husband has Venus in Sag and Mars in Aries. Oh, that's nice. He has a trine then. He's going on a trip with a friend. Curious how this trip this weekend will play out for him. Well, you know, this full moon might be coming into a trine with both of those placements in Leo. So I feel like it should be like a really fun weekend for him, really like flowing for him with this energy. Breakthroughs are possible, but I just honestly see him having a lot more fun and tapping into his inner fire, which could be really great. I think that's great no matter what. Like, fun can lead to breakthroughs. That's a big theme that has been part of my spiritual journey, is like having fun is a spiritual experience. I know so many of us are in our meditations and tracking the transits and reading our books and like doing the deep spiritual work, but having fun can be a spiritual experience too. And that's part of the message this full moon in Leo is bringing, inviting us to have fun, witnessing our emotions through the lens of fun and play. Yeah, you have a loose... Oh, Venus and Gemini and Mars in Cancer. Not a square, not a square. It might be a loose square depending on like the, if they're really low or high degree potentially, but not as much tension as we're talking about, which is nice for you, Elena. Rachel says, I'm so excited for tomorrow. I'm going to do a power animal class, and this is the perfect moon for that. Yes, love that. Full moon in your 8th house. All right. Might be, especially as we've been talking about the moon conjunct Lilith, a little bit of drama, might be bringing up some things that have been stuck down in there for a little bit. Jupiter in Leo as well. Oh, Jupiter trining your natal Jupiter, and the full moon will be around your Jupiter. I feel like there's a lot of abundance that will come from being willing to go deep with yourself and being willing to like really tap into your authenticity. Yes. Like, give him full permission. Like, just have fun, honey. Like, have fun. No, he doesn't need to do any deep work on this. having fun can lead to the breakthroughs. Especially, he has a lot of Capricorn, Cancer energy in his chart, right? So he deserves to have a little fun. Full moon hitting your 10th house in midheaven. Okay, love this for you. Illuminating your long-term goals, your career, success. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, we love a trine for Katie's husband. Leo in the 9th house. This should be a very expansive full moon for you. Maybe expanding your mind or helping you to learn something new or share your abundance with other people. Okay, let's keep talking about this Leo moon. So Saturday afternoon, remember the moon is just getting fuller and fuller at this point. Saturday afternoon, speaking of Jupiter, the moon will trine Jupiter in Aries at 6 degrees. So let's see. I think you can see it on the chart here. The moon, yes, trining Jupiter. So, I mean, the good vibes will come naturally. It's really nice. We've kind of got these breaks in the middle of the day on Friday and Saturday that have really abundant, positive, creative vibes. So the moon harmonizing with Jupiter, it's like it feels good to feel good on Saturday afternoon, helping us make the best of any tension that's popping up. It's like we can see the silver linings. We've got plenty of energy, plenty of optimism to work with as the Leo moon harmonizes with Jupiter. Like putting ourselves out there comes very naturally. We're feeling abundant. But we can also see the best in other people with Jupiter in this connection with the moon. Like we're just more generous. It's just good vibes on Saturday afternoon. The positive vibes we put out will act as a magnet. With the moon in Leo, we have this magnetic presence. Our energy is very magnetic. So if you're putting out the good vibes, you can expect to receive them back tenfold. That goes for all the time, just a little like life hack for you. But it'll be easier to do that on Saturday afternoon. So I love that Rachel's taking this very expansive, I think it's a course or a class. Yeah, like great time to learn something new with the moon trine Jupiter, or even just like share your knowledge with other people. Buy someone, like do a random act of kindness on Saturday afternoon. Bree's best friend Marissa's birthday is on Saturday. Love that. Great day to celebrate a birthday. Yes, bring her to Goddess Night Out. It's going to be so much fun. That would be amazing. Would love to see you there. Yes, happy early birthday to her. Yes, yes, yes. And actually, I forgot to do birthdays. So while we're on the subject, she shares her birthday, fun fact, this is for today. Let's go to tomorrow. She shares her birthday with Rosa Parks and Alice Cooper. The Aquarius vibes here. Two very different Aquarius vibes. Oscar de la Hoya as well. Charles Lindbergh. Natalie Imbruglia. Imbruglia, am I saying that right? Lawrence Taylor. And then today, we'll just backtrack here. Patty Yankee celebrating his birthday. Isla Fisher. Amal Clooney is an Aquarius. Love this. Yeah. Norman Rockwell, Sean Kingston. Where are my 2000s kids out there? Sean Kingston was a vibe. I freaking love Sean Kingston. Nathan Lane is also an Aquarius. And just for the fun of it, let's see who is celebrating their birthday on the full moon. Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay, Neymar, Bobby Brown, Laura Linney, Michael Sheen. Why do I love finding out who's an Aquarius? I'm like, if they're not outwardly weird, they're definitely, Darren Criss, definitely weird behind closed doors. Trayvon Martin was an Aquarius. Yeah, love this. Okay, that was fun. Just wanted to see who else is celebrating this weekend. Ooh, okay, spirit animal class, probably as the moon is coming into this trine with Jupiter. Great time to expand the mind. Love it. Just a lot of expansion coming in general with the moon harmonizing with Jupiter. Now let's move on to Saturday night. What's happening Saturday night? The moon will square the north and south nodes at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And so it feels like an emotional turning point in a way as the moon squares the north and south nodes. This happens twice every month. And honestly, every time it happens, I'm like, this is just an opportunity. We kind of feel caught between, you can see the moon at 8 degrees, the north node at 8 degrees, the south node at 8 degrees. So we're right in between them. And it's kind of like this midpoint or emotionally, we're not quite aligned with the future, but we're not quite aligned with the past anymore either. And because Uranus is playing such a big role in this full moon, it's like, what do we need to break free from in order to really fully authentically express ourselves, to be confident in our expression, to let our hair down and play like a child? You know, that could be that turning point you experience on Saturday night. Like, how do I align with the highest version of myself? And what do I need to release under this full moon? That could be a big question that pops up as the moon squares the north and south nodes. What emotions or hesitancies am I still clinging on to that are not serving my highest good? What is ready to be left in the past? So in the midst of the nodes of fate, our future and our past, we can realize what we're here to let go of under this full moon. Because the full moon, like I said, is like this culmination point. It's the beginning of the release. It illuminates everything that we have manifested up to this point. It illuminates the growth we've had. It gives us an opportunity, especially the full moon in Leo, to celebrate and play so we can begin the letting go process over the coming weeks. So Saturday night, you might be realizing, what do I need to let go of? What's this emotional turning point that I'm at right now? And then at about 11:11 p.m. Pacific time, the moon is going to connect with Mars and Venus. And I want to point this out because we're still experiencing that square between Mars and Venus. So let's see. We have the moon at 11 degrees, sextile Mars. It's not making a very potent connection to Venus. It's actually a quincunx to Venus, which is an imbalanced angle. We used to talk about these in the forecast a lot, but I just started to notice they're not quite as potent. But it's worth pointing out here because Venus and Mars are still squaring each other here. And the moon connecting with Mars, forming this sextile to Mars, it's kind of giving us a little boost of energy. It feels like a bit of a rumbling, you know, like we're able to tap into the motivation, the drive, the stamina of Mars, but there's also this sense of anticipation because we know the full moon is about to reach its peak. So Saturday night, you might feel like a little spurt of energy or like, oh, what am I supposed to do right now? And kind of wanting to lean into expressing somehow. We really are craving expression and stimulation as the moon connects with Mars and Gemini. And especially as our emotions are getting more and more heightened, feels more natural to exude energy than to receive it because the moon is quincunx Venus, which is more of a receptive energy. And it's like we can't fully align with receiving at this point anymore. It's more about the expression late Saturday night. So move your body, you know, finding those healthy outlets to work through any masculine, feminine tension or disruptions that are coming your way. Just know that it's easy to tap into energy and be more outward in our expression than it is to like call things in Saturday night and even into Sunday. So the energy kind of feels like a little bit of a roller coaster again on Saturday with the moon, at least, where it's like, okay, we start feeling kind of these deep things, feeling a lot of empowerment, but maybe even some bitchiness. Then we reach this high of the moon trine Jupiter midday where we're like, everything is amazing. And then towards the end of the day, we're feeling a little bit of like, where are we going? What are we doing? What do we do with this energy? How do we move forward? But also it's really natural to move. So, you know, breathe. That could be something you use to your advantage to get your friend to come celebrate her birthday with us. It's just going to feel natural to move on Saturday night. Yeah. So another little roller coaster. And again, Venus is square Mars exactly at about 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. So we're really feeling that tension more towards Saturday night, but really all day on Saturday. And we'll definitely still be feeling it during the full moon in Leo. So let's touch on the full moon. I'm not going to do horoscopes today. I'm thinking I'll probably pop back on for a little bit, maybe do a ritual with everyone on Sunday morning during the full moon. Don't hold me to that, but I want to. And I want to talk about how the moon's affecting each person. I just got to see how I'm feeling on Sunday after a night of dancing. But I don't want to leave you hanging. And this is the culmination point we're leading up to. And it really feels like the experience of this full moon is more tied to the rocket launching, like getting there. And then it feels like, oh, okay, we got there. We can play, we can release a little bit. So the full moon in Leo feels like it's time to go big or go home. Like it might be the most dramatic full moon of the year. Our passion, our expression, our playfulness is ignited. And yeah, we might be a little more bold, a little more brazen, but doing so, having fun is very magnetic, and just being joyful, being silly is totally favored under this full moon. Playing a game, doing something you used to like to do as a kid. So full permission to just have some fun on Sunday, and know that, yes, Leo is ruled by the sun, so it's most commonly associated with our ego, or sometimes associated with our ego. And just beware of focusing too much on yourself. The sun is in Aquarius, the moon is opposing it in Leo, so it's kind of this juxtaposition between us and what we want and our experience, and then the collective experience. So just keep that in mind as you're in your process, coming back to when you're in a state of joy and play. If you're exuding that, you're going to bring it back tenfold. So like, what energy are you putting out to the universe? What ripples are you sending out? How is your energy impacting the people around you, your entire community, and the global collective at large? Because we know that our words, our energy can be reached and felt at the farthest ends of the universe, right? So have fun. Ask yourself, like, what would be fun for me? But also in the process, like, how can I send some of this light, some of these good vibes to other people too? And instead of thinking solely about your experience, think like, or this could be helpful to have gratitude. Full moon is a beautiful time for a gratitude practice. You know, the full moons were often times of harvest for our ancestors, or being able to work under the abundance of the full moon, having more light, literally. So giving thanks for how brightly you can shine, for that fire within, for that expression within you waiting to be felt and seen, and share that light with others. Share your abundance with others under this full moon. That can be a really empowering way to use this. And like, I don't know, for me, maybe it's a people-pleasing thing, but like, it's almost easier for me to have fun when I know that it's impacting the energy of other people too, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not just having fun for me. I want everybody around me to feel the fun. Even if you're not around other people, your neighbor, you know, one house away or one apartment away can feel your energy without you even realizing it, and probably without them realizing it either. Now, that doesn't mean like you need to blast your music so your neighbor can hear it, but hey, if that's what you want to do under the Leo full moon and it's respectful, that could be a great way to share some good vibes too. Rachel, so this full moon is on top of my Chiron in Leo in the 11th house, going to lean into that healing energy for myself and others. You know, it's very on point that you say that, because the first transit we're going to talk about and we're really going to feel on Sunday is the full moon harmonizing with Chiron. So Chiron right now is coming into a trine with your Chiron. Really beautiful time for you to lean into healing, as you're already intuitively doing. So the full moon at 2 a.m. Pacific time, 5 a.m. Eastern time is coming into this trine with Chiron. I'll jump ahead here, so we'll see if it'll pop up for us, that nice blue line we like to see. Okay, there it is. Moon, is it? Yes. Like, where is it? Moon trine Chiron. There we go. So healing comes naturally under this full moon. It might not be super conscious. It might not be the meditative work and all of the like deep healing modalities that we use. But coming back to what I was saying about Katie's husband having some fun this weekend, like having fun can be healing. Fully expressing our authenticity is healing. Like, just let it go and have some fun. Healing is a journey. You don't have to be fully healed to enjoy yourself. And that is the message that Chiron is bringing through under this full moon in Leo. Here's the doozy. Here's what is going to be the strongest feeling during this full moon in Leo. The full moon is exact at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, so 1:30 p.m. Eastern time, and I'll let you do the math wherever else you live. the moon coming into a square with Uranus. This is going to be a T-square. Okay, so let's jump ahead here. Okay. Is the T-square going to pop up for me? Give it a second. Give it a second. Yeah, I think that should be close enough. Okay, yes. So look at it on the chart here. We've got the moon squaring Uranus, the sun still in a loose square with Uranus. So yes, it's a full moon, but Uranus is the focal point of this entire weekend. Of all these transits, it's disruption, it's change, it's the innovation for me, it's the discomfort for me. That's what Uranus is doing. This full moon is definitely a turning point. It could feel abrupt. It could feel surprising. It could illuminate things that maybe you didn't even realize were ready to be illuminated. So expect the unexpected. Rebellion and innovation are two sides of the same coin. Now we want to come back to dramatics. It's easy to be dramatic under this full moon. Let's not have outbursts just for the sake of having an outburst, okay? Let's not be disruptive just for the sake of the drama. Well, maybe let's just not, you know? Like, notice, am I being the disruption? It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Yeah. So let's be mindful. We're flowing. We're being flexible. We're embracing changes as they come, as opportunities. But we don't want to create more drama than the universe is sending our way, right? So sometimes you got to have a breakdown in order to have a breakthrough. That's my catchphrase for Uranus. Observe those obstacles as opportunities, as redirections. Thank you, universe, for seeing something that I can't see, for protecting me from something that was in my blind spot, or for aligning me with a path I did not even know was available to me. Sunday night, I'm going with a bunch of gals to the Hold Cold Dip place to celebrate my birthday next week. Yes, you're the 7th, right? Are you the 7th? Remind me. So exciting. I love that. I'm so excited for your birthday. Like, I've never even met you in person, and I'm super excited for your birthday. That goes for all of you who are here. Hot cold plunge. There we go. I'm like, what's a hold cold dip? Who knows? Maybe it's a new form of therapy. Yeah, February 7th is Court's birthday. We'll be sending you lots of birthday love leading up to it. Love that the full moon is before your birthday. You can have this like fun, expressive weekend, and then hopefully just find some nice release and relaxation over the next couple days. Yes, disruptive healing. I love this. This could be a whole thing, a whole term that you coin, disruptive healing. Yes, we cannot wait to celebrate you. Okay, yeah, the full moon. And then the official full moon, the moon opposes the sun around 10:30 a.m., and that's this full illumination point. After the full moon on Sunday, no other connections all day. So it really does feel like, okay, we've got the sun squaring Uranus. We've got Venus squaring Mars Saturday night. We've got this like really emotional full moon in Cancer. We might have some disruptive moments leading up to the full moon. And then it's like, okay, let's just play in this. Now that the drama is starting to subside, we can just enjoy after the official full moon and release a little bit. Court and Elena's daughter have the same birthday. And I don't know if Bree is still here, but if you are, remind me of your date again too. I need to like have a calendar on the wall where I write down your birthdays so I can keep them all in mind. But I want to make sure, I'm going to put you all in my Google calendar actually. That's how you know you're important to me, if you're in my Google calendar. Because I know we have a few birthdays coming up in the next week. Very special, important Aquariuses to me. And it feels like the Leo full moon is kind of like the beginning of a celebration a little bit. You know, it's like when you're planning a party. This is what the Leo full moon is feeling like to me. You're planning a party and the days leading up to it are stressful. There are changes. The caterer falls through. Or, you thought you ordered green balloons and you actually ordered orange balloons, or the wrong order came in, or, all these things you have to deal with when planning a party. But then the full moon itself is like the party, and after the full moon, when you're just in party mode and like everything came together how it was meant to come together, even if it wasn't your vision, you can just enjoy the party a little bit. You can enjoy the changes that have already happened and just be like, okay, we did that. Now it's time to have fun and enjoy the company and keep the party going, you know, talking about exuding joy and sending good vibes out to other people. I'm literally planning my daughter's party. So don't be surprised if in the next couple days something falls through. When I tell you, I knew that today was a day of change. I wrote the forecast and changes are already happening and pretty disruptive changes. And luckily I have amazing people in my life who can roll with changes with me. But I'm like, damn, okay, didn't see that coming. All right. Okay, universe, you know something I don't know. Yes, the party always ends up better than I plan. That's the mantra. That is the motto for this full moon. The party always ends up better than I plan. And sometimes it's those last minute changes that you're like, oh my gosh, you know, they gave us the wrong cake flavor. And you're like, I wish I would have ordered this in the first place. Or I've never tried this flavor before and now it's my new favorite. You know, so finding the silver linings, finding the opportunity and the obstacles. And if nothing else, the disruptions make for a good story. Who wants to live a boring life where everything goes according to plan anyway? You know, might as well just embrace the wackiness, the wildness. It's for the memoir. I forget where I heard that, but someone was like, I just started saying like, it's okay. It's for the memoir. I'm writing this in my memoir. It'll make the memoir. Yeah. All right, everybody. That's the forecast. It's a wild one. And it makes sense that our affirmation would be, I embrace change. We're just open to change. We're not even open to it. We're embracing it. We're loving the changes. We are rolling with the changes. We are seeing the opportunities in the changes. Yes, universe, we bow to you. Okay, Uranus, we bow to you. You know how to make us evolve. So if these changes need to happen, then so be it, right? Okay, and we'll finish up with a 3-card tarot pull from the Light Seers Oracle. Really feeling the 3-card pull with so much action happening in the forecast today. So we'll do one for Friday, one for Saturday, one for Sunday, and see what guidance wants to come through. I always give the disclaimer as I shuffle things up that I am not a tarot expert. I'm learning little by little, and I just go off the guidebook. I trust that the guidebook has whatever message we need to receive. But if anybody here watching is a tarot expert, I know I have a few of you who are my tarot gurus and guides. If you are noticing something in a card I pull and you have more insights to offer, always welcome to your insights. This is a co-creation, my loves. So I don't know anything more than you. We all have our unique gifts to add to the conversation. Very Aquarian, right? This is your time as I do some final shuffles to ask questions, share insights. I'm curious, Elena, if you're still watching, does she have a theme for her birthday party? Because for me, I always had to have a theme. It was like a theme every year, and I went all out. Classic Virgo. Had to have all the details. Everybody had to dress up. It was a thing. Oh, I just dropped a bunch of cards. More than 3. Okay, we'll do one little shuffle. And then I think some nervous system regulation as we get ready to go on this roller coaster ride is definitely in order. We'll take a nice deep breath, giving an audible exhale and sending our vibes, our good energy into the deck. No, not a theme. Honestly, so much easier without a theme. I was just a little extra. I made everybody dress up. All my friends were like, really? We have to do this? I'm like, yes, we have to do the theme. My mom used to do a theme for me every year. Fear factor party. That is so cool. I mean, I hope you didn't have to eat anything weird, but that is what a theme for the 2000s. That sounds amazing. Yeah, another Virgo. I would have a big epic birthday party every year. I would do fashion shows and dance around. Yep. One year I had a 50s birthday party. I made my mom move the dining room table so we could have a dance floor, and my cake looked like a record. It was like pure chocolate. Like the slices had to be this thin because it was so rich. You know, the theme is her. We're celebrating her. The theme is her life. A girl peed her pants. She was so scared. Oh my God. That's a memory. That's for the memoir. That is for the memoir. All right. Let's take a nice deep breath. Here we go. The deepest breath you've taken all day, the best gift you can give to yourself. Breathing in from the bottom to the top. And release. What do we need to know for today? The 7 of Cups for Saturday, the Knight of Cups, and for Sunday, the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups keeps showing up for us in different decks. All right, I see you. Maybe it's the whole crown thing. Leo, royalty. All right, let's see what the guidebook has to say about the 7 of Cups, our Friday card. The 7 of Cups, here he is. He's looking at all his cups. Fantasies, choices, wishful thinking, the allure of temptation on the path, needing to move forward without knowing the full picture. Options. When you daydream your way into the future, the options that you have in front of you can feel both under and overwhelming. The path from A to Z is often nebulous, and life can present itself like a game of chutes and ladders that bring you down only to lift you up. Hello, Uranus. Your desire to choose the one correct and perfect path can further complicate and muddle your decision because there is no way to know everything that will spill forth from the cup you choose. Use your intuition to decide, remembering that the temptation of shiny things can be illusory, while challenging paths will often hold unexpected opportunity. Ask your discerning heart what options honestly stand in front of you today, and even if things are not exactly as they seem, choosing that which you truly desire will offer the most useful stepping stone right now. My wildest imagination is a tool that I can use to inform my future in a down-to-earth way. The fact that we pulled this card as we're feeling a trine between the Cancer moon and Neptune, in fact, we pulled all water cards, cups cards, in this watery trine. I love it. And I love that we talked about Neptune kind of bringing in this fog on this disruptive day, like just trusting our intuition, going with the flow. And I love, it says, my wildest imagination is a tool that I can use to inform my future in a down-to-earth way. The sun in Aquarius helping us vision and imagine and see possibilities like this card talked about. Uranus and Taurus bringing these grounded shifts and changes. So even the fact that it says I can inform my future in a down-to-earth way. Uranus and Taurus. I mean, perfection. It always is perfect, but this card, really great. Really great for the energy of the day today. Okay. Our Saturday card is the Knight of Cups. And his message actually came through in reverse. I love that Court said, I'm here for the romance, because look at this man with the flowers. That it came through upside down, but look at him with the dozen roses. This deck like has really attractive people that it, and the illustrations too, like really hot guys for whatever reason. Yeah. Okay, the Knight of Cups, missing the signs, protecting your heart, not being open to love, a player, a jealous partner, moodiness, sulking, emotions blocking your progress, disappointment. This really feels like the Venus-Mars square. Hello, sir. Yeah. Right as I looked up and saw like, okay, romance, cute man. Okay. But anyway, as I was saying, it feels kind of like this square between Venus and Mars, protecting your heart coming through. This classic romantic invites you to step into the world of roses, bubble baths, and champagne, and is fully devoted to you for today, and maybe for every day. This card heralds romance and embodies the graceful movement of a slow dance. Enjoy this flirtation. That word coming up as we talked about Venus squaring Mars. Enjoy this flirtation and be present to connect. This knight is intuitive and totally in touch with his emotions. As such, he knows what he wants and he has no problem wearing his heart on his sleeve. This card often signifies someone who is in love with the idea of love itself. Venus and Pisces. Yep. And sometimes this comes bundled with unrealistic expectations. Are you ready to be swept off your feet and to allow deep honesty and vulnerability to flow freely in your life? Do you believe in this type of true love? Get ready to take inspiration and run with it to make art, music, and love and a veritable masterpiece of life. I am in touch with my emotions. On a day when we're feeling conflict between the masculine and feminine, this card, it feels like the masculine in tune with his feminine and vice versa, right? My Venus and Pisces attacked. Yeah. Falling in love with the idea of love. That's why I said the Venus-Mars square, it can be hot and heavy. It can be like exciting and stimulating, but also falling in love with the idea of something rather than being totally realistic about it. Definitely possible. You know, I'm here for the romance too. It's the Saturday. I guess it's not the Saturday before Valentine's Day, but almost. We're coming into Valentine's Day. It's February. So balancing the masculine and feminine, not getting too caught up in expectations, just enjoying the moment is really the message coming through for Saturday. And then the Queen of Cups is our Sunday card, our Leo full moon card, the very next card actually. So the Knight of Cups is our Saturday card. The Queen of Cups, the next card, is our Sunday card. And she is giving Queen vibes. Extremely intuitive, highly attuned emotional intelligence, love and compassion, sensitivity, strength, empathy, leading with your heart and healing. Leading with your heart. Remember, Leo rules the heart. So the full moon in Leo really amplifying that heart energy. The Queen of Cups is one of the most intuitive characters of the tarot, floating in her dreamlike state of spiritual connection. She asks you how well your emotions have been serving you lately and reminds you that you have the ability to connect on a much deeper level. Feel and accept your emotional intuition. Listen closely as a way to understand what is truly going on and ensure that other people feel heard when you communicate with them. Devote time to their emotional cues and see the divine beauty in all of life's experiences. It takes both sun and shadow to make the ocean floor sparkle. In shadow, this card can indicate that you are out of touch with your emotions. This card came through upright. If you feel any insecurities around openly connecting with others, grow into a better partner by vulnerably sharing your own tender heart. My intuitive heart openly expresses deep love. My intuitive heart openly expresses deep love. This really feels like what we were talking about with being able to put out the good vibes, being able to like really open our hearts and let other people feel that loving energy that can come through. The Queen of Hearts loves deeply and sends that love out freely. So a reminder under the Leo full moon, not just to tap into our own sense of love, but to share that love with other people and lead with our heart, as the card reminds us to do. Lots of water energy coming through though. So just in general, this feels like emotion, you know, water is linked to emotion and all of these cards are in the suit of water cups. So it's probably going to be an emotional weekend and that's okay. Keep an open heart and an open mind throughout whatever pops up and you will be just fine, my friends. Always reflect negative energy with love and compassion, with patience and kindness. Yes, please. Love that. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. All right, everybody. Just basking in everything we just processed, everything that just came through. I am so excited for this Leo full moon, anticipating a lot of big changes for us all, and change is a beautiful thing. And yes, a great reminder from Rachel to protect your energy as well. Your light is beautiful and you don't need anybody else sucking it from you. You know, we got to shine brightly and protect that shine so it can be a pure light that we extend out to other people. All right. Thank you for being here. Thanks for continuing to show up for yourself, for continuing to show up for this community. I love you all. I think you are all such bright lights and magnificent beings. If you're new here, welcome. We're so excited to have you here. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel so we can keep these videos coming to you for free every day. I am toying around with the idea of only allowing subscribers to comment. I don't know how I feel about that. Most of you are subscribed anyway, so if anybody's like, I wouldn't want that, let me know, I guess. Just another way to incentivize people to subscribe. You're all my field producers out there, so I'm just bouncing ideas off of you at this point. I hope you have a great weekend. Yes, thank you, Rachel. And I will see you all most likely on Sunday, but maybe on Monday. We'll see how this Leo full moon decides to show up in my life. I will see all of you who are in transit tracking later tonight. And yes, all right, okay. I'm thinking a Sunday live then. I'll see you all when I see you next. But until then, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.